Welcome to the Digging Deep ATV MX podcast with your host, hailing from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, riding a CST Tires SSI decals Valvoline back Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV motocross national champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back!
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, episode 124 of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our more than 237,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 103 countries in which you are listening, and this is our 2023 Quad Cross of Nations review show. Our Team USA riders of Joel Hetrick, Bryce Ford, and Chad Wienen put together the perfect race weekend in Italy, going 1-2 in each moto to make it 5 titles at the Olympics of ATV racing for the American squad. That made it back-to-back titles for Team USA, with wins in 2022 and 2023. Joel Hetrick won Moto 1, followed by Bryce Ford, with Harry Walker in third. Bryce Ford won Moto 2, followed by Chad Wienen, with Patrick Turini third in that one. And Joel Hetrick and Chad Wienen went 1-2 in the final moto to clinch it, followed by Turini once again. So it was Team USA taking home the title, followed by the home Italian team in second, and Argentina impressively in third. Each member of the winning American squad will join us tonight for this can't-miss episode of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. But before we dive in, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Namura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more, and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. It was big news when Manscaped announced their jump into the beard products game, introducing the Beard Hedger Pro Kit from Manscaped. A premium beard sculpting machine, the Beard Hedger allows dudes like you and I to style our beards to exactly our liking using a zoom wheel featuring 20 different built-in lengths. This Pro Kit also includes shampoo, conditioner, oil, and balm for your beard, as well as a brush, comb, and scissors. Now you're speaking my language, Manscaped. You get 20% off with free shipping by using code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. So rad that Manscaped is continuing to invest in ATV racing as a longtime partner of Digging Deep. Help us keep them in the fold and involved in ATV racing by using our Digging Deep 20 code so they know you enjoy Digging Deep and what we're all about here. Support all these great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website to help us out. The 2023 season may have come and gone now, but that just means we both know you are in need of parts and gear. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know that you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. No new donors to shout out this week, but if you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, of course. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Spotify. That helps us out a bunch. If nothing else, that shows our partners that you're passionate about digging deep and keeping us around long into the future. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, fresh off yet another dominant performance helping Team USA and yet another victory at the Quad Cross of Nations, brought to you by Ultimate Poly Products. UPP Racing has been producing American-made case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more since 1998. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing's industry-leading products. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com to help save on your next order. I am proud to welcome your four-time and reigning series champion, having now put the cherry on top with a personal 1-1 performance and a team victory in Italy, Mr. Joel Hetrick. Joel, welcome back to Digging Deep. Thanks so much for giving us a snippet of your valuable time here in the offseason, pal. I appreciate it a bunch.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm happy to talk a little bit. Italy was definitely an awesome experience, so some good stuff to talk about, without a doubt.
Prolific season for you, pal. Your most dominant ever, obviously, here in 2023. And I can't think of a better way to end it than the way you did across the pond a few weeks ago. I mean, it's got to feel like a dream season almost. I know that we basically said that following the AMA series, but then to do this too, just got to believe you look back and think, man, what a year.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the icing on the cake for me. This year was, like you said, hard to beat. It is my best year ever racing pro class. So it's going to be tough to top this one. You know, that was the goal we set, was it was high, and we succeeded at most of it. Had, a couple not even bad races, but things that didn't go in our direction to win a couple motos, but it was just a couple motos. So to finish it off with a 1-1 performance on my end was great. And I was pretty underprepared, honestly. So I was kind of nervous going in there, being that the races are so long. We had just got sick with I don't know if it was like something to do with your chest. So I just didn't get to do as much riding and training as I wanted to leading up to the race. And I was kind of worried, knowing that the distance was so long for the races. But all in all, it felt good on the bike, and the machine worked really good. It was super similar to my race machine at home. But yeah, it was awesome.
I guess that's a testament to your built up muscle memory or whatever after a long season. I feel like late in the year like that, it's like, man, you probably don't need to put in as many laps as what your mind probably thinks you do, because you have so many laps built up throughout the season there. But yeah, talking about your season, man, I mean, you said things weren't perfect, but it was clearly your best year. When you're talking about the things that went sideways, being a couple motos, even though you still wrapped it up an event early and everything like that, like that's nitpicking almost. But tell me about the Italy trip, because many of my listeners will remember that in 2017, Italy was the location of the first Quad Cross of Nations that we attended as a country. So now, being a number of years since then, 6 years or whatever it's been, our U.S. Quad Cross of Nations effort has probably changed in that time. It's probably been streamlined, and that was our first trip over there back then. And now we got at least 5 trips worth of experience now. And your career too is in a much different spot than it was in 2017. I mean, think about all the winning that you've done, and, these back-to-back titles and all these things. I mean, we talked about with you that what a difference, being at 4 championships makes from being at 1 or 2. It's night and day, and you're not to mention your personal life, right? And your growing family and all these things. I just wondered if you found yourself now going back to a same location. This is the first time that you guys have went to Europe, to a same facility that you had been to previously. I wondered if you found yourself like reminiscing on all the things that have changed, all the progress, all the winning, all the success, all the great things for your family. I just wondered if it didn't bring back some memories and made you reminisce a little bit when you returned to Italy there.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely brought back some memories, and it was cool to go back there. And I will say, like, this time I wasn't as nervous. I felt like a lot more confident, and I feel like that comes from my program being so strong, and like how good my year was, and what I've done since then, like you said, has been amazing. And then to go back there and then have the performance I did, and just it was really cool. It felt awesome. Like, this championship for me felt really good. But I would say like that win, that performance there, it felt, almost the same, if not better. And I think that's part of the reason.
Well, and I gotta believe that you having done this now 4 times, right? Like that is obviously a key to this too. When you go over there for the first time or those first couple times, I gotta imagine it feels a little bit like a wild card. You know, you're going across overseas, you're racing out of out of a container. You're racing guys you don't really know, all those things. Like I have to imagine that feels a little bit like, man, I'm not in my comfort zone. You've done enough now though that to have, I guess that's a credit to the team, right? They've created an environment that it just feels like you're going racing almost, you're kind of saying. And that's a testament to everybody involved there. I know that's something we talked about with Chad, that they've done such a great job, everybody involved. So I don't want to just say Mark or Harv, or I mean everybody that you guys have involved to put together an effort that's worthy of you guys and is as good as it is I guess credit to everybody involved in making that process work for you guys.
Yeah, it definitely makes you feel a lot more comfortable. And just how it's set up and the amount of people we had from our series attending this year. And I think the first year we had a good amount too, but like that just makes everything go a little bit better, a little bit smoother, and takes a little bit of stress off your mind. Like you're not just completely out in this country by yourselves, like you
Right.
have people, and I feel like that it is a big team effort. And I think that being comfortable is a big part of winning.
I'm sure every like familiar face you see over there is like, you might not be like crazy tight here, but you see them there and you're like, hey, those are my guys.
They're my best friends over there. Like
Right.
that's what it feels like. And even with some of the guys I talk to on social media that are from different countries, like as soon as I see them and maybe I'm by myself or whatever, I'll like go right over to them and BS, because like that, it makes you feel like, you got some buddies around the track, which we do. It's just we're all never around each other. So I walked around the pits a little bit and got to talk to a couple guys, and I thought it was pretty cool. Like I was just standing outside their tent, talking to them, and like I just wasn't torn around, it was cool.
And some of those guys, those top guys, have U.S. connections now, having come here, whether it be for a series, or I'm sorry, for the whole series, or like just one race or whatever it is. So that's something really cool. I've talked myself blue in the face about the fact that I think the Quad Cross of Nations has a lot to do with that, with getting those guys over here. And I think that that's been a really cool thing. But let's talk about the actual racing then. So you guys win all your qualifying races on Saturday, perfect day there. And then, we read some of these comments, like there's comments out there about, the other countries not having a chance and this and that. But in the first moto on Sunday, I got a little nervous. Not necessarily nervous about, winning or anything like that. And I credit all of these countries and how good their riders are. I don't think that we even need to necessarily touch on that too much, because there's great riders going on. And I think it was on display the weekend of the race there. But I was a little nervous about something unexpected happening, because after that back row start, pal, you're in like 10th or something, which we never see even here in the States, right? And the track is so narrow, it seems like, anyway, from my perspective. And it was really fast, and you had to be all over the rider in front of you. And I was just worried about, like tagging tires with another rider or something like that. Now it all worked out, but I'm thinking, and it's not even like if you did it here and you're behind, I don't know, name, Michael Allred or, Max Lindquist or Stanfield, or, I mean, whoever, like you're behind some guys that you might not really know. So I just found myself like, man, just a touch nervous. Like I said, it all worked out, but you being just all over these guys, wanting to go 5 seconds a lap faster than they were or whatever. I just got a touch of worry there while that was going down in the first moto.
Dude, I was getting so frustrated too. Like, whoever, I don't know who it was, but at one point I had such a hard time getting around this guy for 4 laps, and they kept telling me ninth every time I come around. I'm like, dude, I get it, but I do not know what I'm gonna do. Right. This guy, I'm gonna get 9th place because I've done it all. I cannot pass this guy. I run into the side of him, spins me out, and like I damn near like passed him, and then he like runs me wide to the point where I had to stop. And then like I don't know if hopefully it's not intentional cross jumping. I won't say it's intentional, but dude, he's got eyes in the back of his head. Every time I'm driving by him, he's in my line. I'm like, oh my God, I almost landed on him. That's just, that's the one guy in particular that was very, very hard to pass on that track. His quad's fast. It's pulling my quad. And I'm like, I can't just drive by you. I'm just not that guy right now. But after I got through him, it was smooth sailing because two guys got tangled up. And then, I think Mark McLaren basically just waved me by. I laughed at that. I was like, thanks a lot. And then I got to Bryce, and just so happens Bryce like hit a rut wrong, and I just got right under him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it was interesting. My heart's racing right now because I'm so mad talking.
So I'm watching, right? And you're right. You're in 9th place, and I'm like, man, we're gonna get a Joel sighting here eventually. What the heck's going on? And then, like you said, when you finally get by this guy, you got up to that lead pack, and it was actually really cool to see 4 or 5 guys all kind of flying in formation there at the front there. That was really fun to watch. But then you sneak up the inside of Bryce. He got a little squirrely there at the top of one of them hills, and you get the lead, and then there it was. But man, that part happened really fast, but it had to feel like you were in traffic for the whole race, probably is what it felt like. And then after you got in clean air, you probably felt like, man, when's the 2-lap board going to come out? Like, it felt like 2 motos in one, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it felt like for me. I'm thinking like, okay, we're 25 minutes in, like the 2 boards coming out. I'm in 9th still.
Jesus.
I pass him and get to Bryce, and I don't know if I looked at the clock, but I know there was still like 10 minutes left of the race. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're good, which did not feel like it. And then I got in front of him, and it felt, obviously long because he was riding really good. Like I said, his little bobble was probably the only reason I passed him, and at least passed him so easy, because if not, like, he would have either just had to kind of wave me by if I was a lot faster, or like, who knows. But just, yeah, it worked out for me in that aspect of winning the motos. But obviously it doesn't necessarily matter as far as team score, but everybody wants to win that moto.
Of course. Oh, of course. And kind of like you said, I don't know that it was intentional by anybody doing the cross jumping thing or whatever, but it seems like a really fun track to ride, but it seemed like that track almost promotes like going left to right, to left to right, setting up for some of those hills that makes it difficult on an ATV when, like I said, it didn't seem like it was super wide. I don't remember it feeling this way in 2017, but it sure did this year for whatever reason.
It felt just super narrow. And that's what everybody said too. And I do agree. I don't feel like it was like this in 2017. I have no idea why.
Yeah.
It was like identical, but man, it was tight, way too fast, and made for some really good racing if you're viewing. So
yeah. Well, legendary ride there in that opening moto, pal. And then Bryce and Chad go 1-2 in Moto 2, leaving you and Chad to seal the deal there in the third moto. And I bet getting out in clean air felt pretty good there at the start of Moto 3, bringing home the title for Team USA. But after that fight at the start of the first one, being out in clean air right away had to feel pretty good, I would think.
Yeah, it was a whole different race. I mean, I can't tell you how much more I enjoyed getting the whole shot.
Sure.
When I was in the back, it was just so rocky and I mean, it was rocky and frustrating because you couldn't pass like you wanted to, but it was just, there was pebbles all over. Depending on how they prepped the track, they watered pretty heavy. So like if it was wet for our race, which it was a little damp, like it was just a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But getting the whole shot was nice. And if I'm thinking right, we had a restart, right? For that.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the story was with that.
Yeah, so like half the gates didn't drop, I guess.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm like red line, max heart rate, just wide open this first lap, and they're red flagging, and I'm like, holy cow, no way. So we had to go back. We waited for like 5 minutes till they got it going. What's crazy is you pick every one of them gates up single, and so when they drop them, I mean, it took this guy probably the whole 5 minutes to walk down and pick them all up and do their thing.
Okay.
So as soon as they got that going, my second hole shot was actually better, is what I was getting at. Like I was I was good the first one, but I crept so long that I almost hit the gate and then pulled the clutch in, and then the gate dropped and went. And then the second one, I just literally nailed it perfect. So
Nice.
pumped on that. And yeah, the free track was great. I got to see where Chad was at, and like we just rode. Like, we rode pretty hard, I feel like. Because if I wasn't pushing, he would gain, like a good second a lap. So I pushed pretty hard. We rode, just got a big gap on them guys, and I think we were just cruising off each other's pace, really.
So what is it like to go solo to the line like that? Like, that's not something that you've probably really ever done, other than at this event. It's got to just feel a little weird.
Yeah, it is weird. Like straight up solo when you do the qualifying race, I don't mind it because it's at that point it's all on you.
I mean, not that there's anybody that needs to say anything to you, right? Like, that's what I've thought multiple times, but still, it's just like not what you're used to.
That's what I was gonna get at too. Is like I'm Gary don't talk hardly at all. Anyways, I'm like really big on like someone backing me up when I ask him something. Like my dad was always really good at it. If I pick a gate and I'm like, "What do you think?" He's like, "Yeah, that's the one." And that's like what I do with Gary.
Okay.
He picks a lot of the gates. If I'm not like super confident, I'll be like, dude, no, dude, just pick it. So me going up there, we kind of had a plan where we wanted to start, and I knew that start already from the previous time. So I just picked inside. Gate prep was easy. It's all rocks and like gravel. It's like your driveway. So you just try to move it to the dirt. And then yeah, when you're up there with your teammate though, it's a little bit different because like back row starter, we can both go up there and prep a little bit, and then I can go up, or when I pull up or whatever, I'm first, and he has to wait for everybody to come back through the line, and then the second row guy comes up. So
Okay.
like we prep the second row guys gate a little bit, and then we talk. Like when Chad was up there, we both contemplated on which gate to pick because Bryce and I chose not the furthest inside, and then Chad and I we did.
Mhm.
And he actually helped me because I was going to start in the ruts, and he's like, "Hey, you don't have to start in the ruts here." So then me and him both prep my gate out of the ruts, and then we did these two. But it's just so like you're not alone there, but the first one, the qualifier, you are alone.
Mhm.
But I do think it's kind of unique being up there with your teammate and like prepping their stuff and just like talking about the race that's about to happen.
Even like I saw some photos of like you and Chad on qualifying race day, and wishing each other luck and whatever. I don't know. It's just it's a fun thing or whatever. So how does that work with choosing who's going to be on the front of the line and be on the back? How does that work?
So like there's a meeting for everybody Friday at the track in the container, and we kind of go over that based on what we've done previous years to give the guy with the shortest break the easiest convenience. So like you would give the guy with the shortest break the front row start.
Got it.
And then like for me, I could start the back row that first moto, and because I'm third moto, so they got enough time to do my quad and everything. But with the guys with the shorter one, they want to give them as much time to get the bike ready as possible.
Got it.
But really, we discuss it too as the riders, and everybody's got to do it, once. So it's just kind of preference or, whatever works better to get that quad dialed in.
Got it. I remember that from years past. Now that you say that about the time frame to get that quad ready. But yeah, I guess that first moto just kind of adds to the legend because that was quite the ride from you. But yeah, 5th Quad Cross of Nations victory now for the red, white, and blue. You've been part of 4 of them, of course, and perfect score. They're 1-2 in every race. Undefeated we are at this event, winning every time that we've attended, and I have to believe that there's a lot of pride that comes with that. I mean, I've talked on the show previously, and we've probably had this conversation too, that our whole lives, right, red, white, and blue is a pride thing, but I got to believe that for the rest of your life, the red, white, and blue is going to mean something even more, having represented us at such a prestigious event. Like that's just got to be such an awesome thing for you, and it sure is an awesome thing for us ATV enthusiasts here in the States to have somebody like you representing our great country. So I got to believe that you're quite proud, pal.
Yeah, definitely. Super proud to represent USA. Like this race to me is major. It's one of the biggest races, in my book, because like you said, I've done this all my life, and then to be able to represent the best in the world for Team USA, like that's just the coolest thing. And then, to tell people about it, like I was telling random people in the airport about it on the way home, and they're just like mind blown by it, that I'm on the plane with them. And
Yeah.
it's just really neat. And like, I'll get to tell my kids that, they were there at that race. They don't really, obviously aren't going to remember, but like, here's the photos of us, and, we're winning world championships. So it's legendary for me, and it's something I would never think that I would have done. But like, I just thought I'd be racing four wheelers forever, and now we're winning world titles.
Pretty cool thing to have your ATV be the reason why you're over there and doing great things on your four wheeler. Buddy, I promised I wouldn't take too much of your time, but I do have to ask you here. I have to ask you about J-Law. Jason Lawrence riding a Phoenix Racing machine there at the Ironman GNCC last weekend. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that to you. Your team, obviously. What a cool thing David somehow pulled off there. How the hell does that happen? I mean, that's absolutely nuts. How rad.
Yeah, I like messaged Heath, and I'm like, dude, no, this ain't real, right? Like, who's riding this bike?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's real. And I think it was the guy with Arma, actually, that I'm good friends with, J-Law, and he's a big part of our team. So I think he asked David if he had a bike, and he was all about it. David said, hell yeah, we'll get him a bike going. So they got him one to ride. I don't know. I guess he would have raced like industry class or something.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know how he did. I just saw one clip of him coming in hot to someone and blowing him over a berm. So
oh my gosh, that's funny. That's funny. I saw some posts about him going to Ironman, and then all of a sudden I have this realization that it's riding a Phoenix bike, and I'm like, man, how cool. So I had to ask you about that, obviously. But Joel, you're the man. Congrats on a hell of a season, hell of an effort there over in Europe. Appreciate all that you do for this sport here, for in this sport across the world, and enjoy these next few months with your family, buddy. Great job, and thanks so much for being here with us.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Anytime you want me to jump on, just let me know. I enjoy talking and reminiscing with all the memories and stuff. It's a good time. So yeah, thank you again.
You're the best, buddy. That's the fastest man on the planet, Joel Hetrick, right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by Ultimate Poly Products and UPPRacing.com. Thanks so much, buddy. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ 450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ 450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ 450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ 450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best-looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV Motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, off-road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion top fuel drag racer Clay Millican. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at SSIDecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you?
We are proud to be partnered with Namura Technologies. For over 20 years, Namura has pushed the limit of value and reliability in the ATV and side-by-side market. Covering more applications than anyone in the industry, Namura's full line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, and industry-leading top-end repair kits and more have led to higher overall engine performance for your machine. Visit your local dealer or online at www.namura.com and follow along on Instagram for giveaways and exciting new products in 2023. Namura Technologies, your one-stop shop engine component supplier. We are pleased to be partnered with Bronco ATV and UTV Components. Bronco has been an industry leader in replacement hard parts and accessories for all makes and models for over 15 years. With a catalog that includes a full line of electrical components, engine internals and cylinders, shock and suspension parts, winches, clutch kits, valves, carb kits, bearing kits, and drive chain parts, Bronco is your hard parts source for whatever you need, for whatever you ride. Available exclusively through distributors around the world, visit your local dealer or online at broncoatv.com.
For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil. All right, guys, for the second consecutive year, this man stepped up in the biggest of ways at the Quad Cross of Nations, brought to you by SSI Decals, making your identity stick with industry-leading decals and graphics, supplying Team USA riders Joel Hetrick, Chad Wienen, and this next guest. Head over to SSIDecals.com and use discount code DIGGINGDEEP10 today. Say hello to Mr. Quad Cross of Nations himself, Mr. Bryce Ford. Bryce, buddy, congrats on all the success across the pond for the second consecutive year. How does it feel the second time around?
Oh man, it feels awesome. It really was, and it was an amazing trip. Just riding with Joel and Chad was awesome, and getting to, be a team again, like the previous year, which was my first ever year, was truly amazing. And thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm really excited to talk about this because, as you know, it was a really great weekend, great week for me. So yeah, I'm just really excited to get into it and talk about it.
Hey, I love to hear the excitement in your voice too, because a lot of times when I get you on, pal, yeah, you're flexing, you're pumped. I mean, I love it because a lot of times when you join me, man, you're so reserved and you're so chill, and then I get you going and you're good. But to come in with all this energy, it shows how much this means to you. It really does, and I know it's a big deal. But you are wearing that kind of hard on your sleeve here. So, like I said, for the second consecutive year, seems like you truly saved your very best for the Quad Cross of Nations. That ride you had in Moto 2 there was incredible. So you can take me through your weekend, but definitely highlight that second moto, what would be your last moto of the weekend there, because man, that had to be one of the best races I've ever seen you ride.
Yeah, no, it was a really good race, but leading up to that, I got there a little bit early, like I did last year, and I went to Rome, and then I went over to the race where the team house was, and I ended up getting a little sick. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's already stressful to be over there, and then I was sick, and honestly, I was doing whatever I could to get better, and I ended up getting better. For sure. But the test day, I was a little nervous. The bike is brand new, so it was a lot. So we tested the bikes Wednesday or Thursday. Everything went good there. It felt really good, and I felt like the suspension setup I had for a high speed, pretty smooth track was really good. So I just felt really confident going into the weekend. And then, Friday morning, it was pretty cool. I got to go on a jog with Chad. And just like the whole team aspect, and to be able to, work out with Chad, knowing, everything he's done in the US with the eight titles it's truly amazing to just, be on the same team with him and just, get to see the way he, goes about and takes it very serious over there at 7 a.m. He was stretching and everything, and just getting to hang out with Joel, and, he's a beast whenever he rides, wherever he rides in practice. I was like, geez, man, he's gonna, really go out there and kill me. So yeah, it was really amazing leading up to it. The fans are amazing. And just the atmosphere over there, it really is motivating, and it makes it so much easier to go out there and ride 25 minutes. It's like you can hear people yelling, you hear chainsaws just
Yeah.
So it's amazing. The tech day went really good. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I can't even tell you how much it meant to me, just to go over there again. And everybody believed in me. And this year I didn't feel as nervous, but Saturday I definitely got nervous. So I was the second race. I watched Joel go out there first, and he really, put on a clinic, I would say, in his heat, and rode really well, pulled the start. And I think I got like 11th gate pick this year, which was better than last year because I started second row. And I knew I was, not dealt the best card on the gate selection, but I felt confident in my riding from, riding in the US this year and getting second. And, I felt like I had a lot of speed. And after Loretta's, I really wanted to go out there and prove, I need to perform a little bit better than I did there. So, I got a really good start. Second off the start, I knew I needed to make a quick pass. I made it within 3 turns, and honestly just rode a really consistent race and really smart, because it's 25 minutes Saturday, and then you got to race twice Sunday. So I just wanted to be smart. Mm-hmm. Ended up winning that. And Chad took care of what he needed to do. And then going into Sunday, it's nerve wracking, but the atmosphere, like I said, there is amazing. I have so many amazing people with me, the Harris family, my own family, like Mark Baldwin is right there. Jody was, helping. It's just, it almost feels like we're at home over there, and we're so far away from home. But everybody, all the people who supported us and came over, it was truly special.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And when we get to Saturday's action, obviously you guys do 1-1-1. You take care of everything that needs to be taken care of there. It was pretty status quo. We talked to Joel about the way that Sunday started. It was a little chaotic. And I said to him, I'm like, man, like I wasn't worried about how things were going to go results wise, but the way it was stacked up, right? Like the way that everybody was in one place at one time. And it's just, and I said to him, the way that the track kind of tracked, or however you want to say it, like it promoted some like going left to right kind of thing. It made it so hard to pass. It was very narrow. It was very fast. I was open wheel racing, right? Like I'm always worried about on a track like that, where you're going so fast and it's so hard packed. I think about catching tires and having just something bad happen. I'm like, man, what a nerve-wracking way to start the race day. It all worked out perfectly. But man, what a nerve-wracking way to start the day for you guys. And then you were in such a hard spot because, you know, you're watching, I believe McLaren was the one leading at the time, and you get up there, you're third, second, that now Joel's coming from the back, right? And I'm like, man, to be where Bryce was, stuck right in the middle, like that was a really hard place to be.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it was, you know, that first moto was definitely a, you know, kick in the butt for me. I wasn't very excited on it. You know, I'm excited that we did well, and we went 1-2, which that's all that really matters to me. But, you know, when I get selected to go first on the start, and I just missed second to third the shift like 3 or 4 times, and I ended up coming out really far back. And I made a lot of quick passes on the first lap, but just wasn't really in a good spot the whole race, and I felt like I was spinning a little bit more with the rear tires than I wanted to on that track, and just wasn't getting enough, you know, front end bite, sliding all over, like you said, going from left to right on the track. So, you know, it was a learning curve for me, but honestly, Joel was shredding. Like he was way back, and I kept looking because I was like, I know this guy's got to be somewhere close, you know. But I made a little mistake going up the hill, and he came on the other side of me, and I looked over, and I was like, you can see me waving in a picture, but I was like, I got a little sideways up the hill, and didn't, you know, want to make him think that I was trying to take him out or something. But yeah, he rode good. You know, he really showed me a lot of good lines, and, you know, it gave me a lot of confidence for the second one. We went back and grooved the tires. So the second race, I just, you know, I felt really good. I saved myself in the first one a little bit. Once he, you know, got the lead, I was like, all right, we're good here. Let's just manage, you know, second to third. And I did that. And yeah, in the my second race, which is the team second race, Chad started in front of me, and he got a really good start. I think he was second off the start, and I was top 5 in the second row. And I pretty much just put my head down. I started really flowing with the track. The groove tires, I feel like, really helped me. It was something I struggled with in the U.S. this year, grooving the tires. I felt like it was tippy, but that track overseas really, you know, it really benefited me. So I just pushed the whole time. I ended up, you know, getting a really good run at the bottom of the hill, and I had a line on Chad, and I just, you know, went with it, and yeah, I made the pass, and I definitely think he was, you know, I think he was not racing me super hard, but I think he was struggling with, you know, how fast to push it on that track, and some of the lines were a little bit different, and I got lucky the first one. I learned from Joel. Yeah. So I just put my head down, and I saw like 16 minutes left on the clock, and I was like, you know, let's push, you know, be smart about it. Don't make yourself crash. And I started pushing, and then there was a yellow flag for 12 minutes of the race, and it wasn't benefiting me in any ways. But yeah, I just, you know, rode a really good race, and Chad started to pick it up, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. And a couple times this year in the US, I was beating him, and I made a few mistakes, and he ended up beating me. But, you know, I really wanted to, you know, stay in the lead because I was up there for 14 minutes, and I was fortunate enough to do that. And it was a really good race for me. It felt amazing. I, you know, come off the track, and everybody's, you know, pumped, just because I think, you know, they love racing, and they love good battles and a good race like that. So It was amazing. You know, the energy was great. And then the third one, I get to watch Chad and Joel, and, you know, I have all the confidence in the world in them because, as we know, they're the 2 best to ever do it. So, you know, I'm just sitting there, you know, hoping the start goes well. And in the third one, I'm not sure if you saw, but in the first start, it didn't go too good. So it made me a little bit nervous, you know, not super nervous, but it's like, dang, I wish we could have got a better start than that. But then they ended up red flagging it, and they both pulled a really good start.
Yeah, man, you know, kind of tying up the way that your personal race day ended there. chasing down Chad, and I watched things just click for you. It was like all of a sudden, boom, like you're going, like you 1 pass, 2 pass, 3, get up to Chad, make the move in a place where you were good all day in that spot. And then I'm like, okay, we'll see. Cause I figured we know Chad, like he's gonna follow and learn some stuff just like you did from Joel. And then he's going to hope to bring it at the end. And obviously what's paramount is the team. And you've already said that as much. And I'm sure Chad felt the same way, but it's not like he wouldn't have made a run at winning this thing if he could. So I was very curious to see how that was going to go, and the way that you weathered that storm totally and rode your race all the way to the checkers to win that one. I mean, again, chasing down Chad, passing him, holding him off late. That's literally what dreams are made of, buddy.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, just racing with those two is a dream of mine, and going over there is a dream of mine, obviously. So I would never really do anything too crazy because it's not really worth it. But I felt like I was in a good situation. I was really flowing that moto, and it's not like I was pushing super hard. I was just flowing, not trying anything crazy. So yeah, I made the pass and just, I felt really good, about it. And yeah, it's a big deal for me, to beat him. I know, he might not have been going as hard because it's like, we're on the same team, but we are still, racing against each other. But over there, it's a completely different feeling. And, it's a different, there's a lot of different logistics to it, and you gotta, be smart. So yeah, I mean, I think it's very beneficial for me, to be able to win one. I didn't win one against them all year. So yeah, I mean, it makes me feel good. It makes me, know I need to put in a lot of work and just be ready next year, because yeah, they're going to be riding really good again. Yeah, everyone's, on another level.
Yeah. So what if I would have went back in time? We would have hopped in the time machine, and I would have told that little guy wearing the number 44, back in the day on his mini quads, what if I would have told him that this happened, that there's a race in Europe, that's the Motocross of Nations for ATVs, and the quads went over there, and you're part of the team, and you beat Chad Wienen in one of your motos, and you're a teammate of Chad Wienen and Joel Hetrick, all these things. What if I would have told that little guy, that this is how this went down in 2023? Would he even have believed me, or would he thought I was an alien from some fictitious world or something?
Honestly, I don't know exactly how to answer that question, because when I, in 2013, Joel, or 2011, maybe, he hurt his shoulder, and I was like 10 years old, and he came to my house to get his collarbone repaired in Dallas. And I looked up to those guys. I looked up to John Natale and Chad Wienen at the time. They were all great. Joel, as we know, was the fastest. Those guys were veterans of the sport. So just, I mean, like I say, to race with those guys, it's truly special to me. And when I go over there, I do everything I can to not make a mistake, and just to really put my heart, into every moto. But to answer your question, I probably wouldn't believe it, but it is truly like something I wished I dreamed of then, but it's like, now that it's a reality, it's amazing. And I'm so grateful that those two, go over there, because there's not a ton of money in it. It's more to represent the USA. So it's truly an honor to ride with them, and just to, stay with them for the weekend. It's, something that I'm grateful for. And if I ever get the call, to go over there again, that's something that I would always do, no matter if I had a bad season, good season. I just, it's special to me to go over there, and the fans are amazing. And just the whole atmosphere, and everybody who supports our team, it's really means a lot. And I think it means a lot to Chad and Joel as well.
Oh, for sure. And to just be together with those guys, on a team with those guys, man, is insane, really. And to step up to the plate. I mean, there's been a lot of opinions out there, and we're not going to get into them. It doesn't pay, and whatever, but there's been a lot of opinions about you being on the team and this, that, and the other thing, and the way that you've slayed each of these last 2 Quad Cross of Nations events for our team, for our country, man. That's got to be something that brings a big old smile to your face. So you earned the top spot in your quote unquote class, 2-1 finishes, doing your part to help the American squad clinch the perfect score and another title, the 5th title, of course. second one for you now, which is amazing to think about that you already have 2 of these things under your belt. So how did the emotions compare to the first year? How did the Italy experience compare to the Czech Republic? And how was the crowd? Because you seem to have them at your fingertips. I mean, getting them loud when you wanted them to, quieting them down when needed. We saw you on camera, telling everybody to quiet down a little bit so you could do your interview, and then hyping them back up again. It was amazing, pal. You were like the puppeteer.
Yeah, so there's a little bit like the language difference is hard to understand sometimes, and there were a few chainsaws over there, and it was hard to hear the interview, but
I love it, man.
I mean, everything over there is crazy, and when I like I really mean that, and it's just like my true emotion and joy for racing, just growing up and doing it for 16 years can really come out. The fans love it, and it's like you can really show them love back because they're just great, and they're really into it, and they're very respectful. They know that, we train pretty much year round for this, and they really respect us. And it's, it's so great to see, like, after the race, the other racers are very, just generous. It was so fun riding with you. And like I say to all of them, like, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so glad, that we got to ride together. And just everything over there it's really like raw emotion. And I feel like I can be myself over there. I know a lot of the people in the States, have their opinions on me, but this is something that I've done since I was 4 years old, and I try to help, whoever I can in any way I can.
Yeah.
And some people just take it the wrong way. And it's unfortunate. But over there it's raw emotion. It's not, my bike's better than anybody else's bike. They're on hybrids, so it's, they can't really say that, but it's such a special event, and it's crazy because I'm so fortunate, like I've said, to travel, on a plane 8 hours, which is, you can't go by car. It's literally over the ocean, and it means so much to me to be able to do that. And, to think, that when I was younger, if I would ever go to Italy, I would tell you no. And just, everybody who's made it possible for me, it really means a lot to me. And I just, I wish everybody at the Nationals would just, respect us and respect me, because I truly care about the sport, and I want to see the sport, grow and be like the European side of things where the fans are just, true joy when they watch us ride. It's like, I can out there and put in my heart for 25 minutes and this is the result that happens.
Yeah, man, I said this to you a year ago, and we talked about the fact that maybe Quad Cross of Nations and that whole thing kind of helped you, like it was maybe a factor in making you fall totally in love with the sport for good, kind of thing, when you were in I don't want to call it a rough patch, but you were like trying to find yourself with this kind of, right? I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. And then all the success of last year, this year was a totally different Bryce Ford, and now this again. And I just love seeing the smile on your face, talking about it, the passion, all those things. And it's funny that you touched on that, because I thought literally the next thing in my notes here is I thought it was super fun to hear you speak about the other riders. When you were on the podium, you were talking about the other guys and using their names and all those things. I think that that's a really cool thing. You offered a lot of positive words for your competitors across the pond and stuff like that. So did anybody specifically, did anybody impress you from over there, dudes that you had to race against? Because last year it was the number 22 that was super fast,
Randy Naboo.
yes, he was gnarly last year at the Czech Republic.
Trust me, I didn't forget that guy's name. And you best bet after last year I followed him on Instagram to stay in tune with what he was doing and see what he was doing. But no, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Cody. I have respect for everybody who races over there, and all the guys over here. I tell everyone, like, we're all trying our best, and at the end of the day, it's great that we have our differences and all that, but it's like we're all trying our best. And like Joel beats me, the dude's fast on a quad. There's no excuse there, nothing to say. Chad, he's a legend, he's great. But honestly, I'll tell you, there's a lot of guys that are getting good, and that's why I was, definitely pretty nervous this year, and obviously the first year going into it, because I know I need to execute on the start. And starting second row, there was a handful of guys that are competitive, very competitive, and especially on a track like we raced in Italy this year, where it's very fast. It doesn't get super rough, but there were a lot of guys. There was a guy, Torini, and the guy who was in my race, very fast. Harry Walker is good.
Yep.
He has a Baldwin engine, so I know what he's got going on. He's got, some power there. And then there's some guys on hybrids that it's just the bike's very fast, very good, and they know how to ride it very well. So there's a lot of good guys, and I know people in the U.S. underestimate those guys, but
for sure,
it's honestly very hard because we're expected to go over there and win. So it's like, you have that pressure, you have to win in your head. And you know how that goes. You could fall off the machine and get 20th, or, you win fortunately, but those guys are picking it up for sure. They've gotten a lot better. The competition over there is no joke. And I know from the screen at home, it might not, look super intense, but every time I go out there, and I'll say this for sure, every time I went overseas, I felt like I've rode 120%. I've really hit my marks and really done well. So I'm really truly giving it my all. And those guys are, not far behind, if not right there.
Well, and so we've seen, those guys, whether it's Kevin Saar or Chirini or, those number of guys now come over here. And I think that coming over here has clearly, I think, up to the ante over there for sure. They're getting exposed more to our American riders and our speed over here and all those things. But, just like you said, not only is the bar set crazy high, I mean, the bar is set at the perfect score, basically, but you're also going to their territory, racing out of a container and, all these things that are just not like the norm. Right.
And that's the crazy thing about it, just really quick, is it's like you're going in their territory. So it's not just, it's not just the rider. There's a whole, like Estonia, for instance, there's, 5 riders, 6 riders, 3 riders, whatever. But then you see their fan base and you're like, whoa, like some of those teams and they wear, their flag on the shoulder and they have a lot of pride. So it's, it's not intimidating, but it's like, there's a lot of fans here and they're cheering their riders on, and I'm sure their riders, like they're going to give their all. And like I said, those guys are no joke. I'm telling you. And it's crazy because I see on, Facebook, there's people saying, oh, the Pro-Am guys could just go mop it up. And I'm not saying they couldn't go over there and win, but those guys are very competitive.
Mm-hmm. And there's just so many like other aspects to this race. The back row thing, and 2 riders. And it's just like all of that. Like there's so much that makes it like a wild card race to me. It's insane.
No, there's so much stuff, and it's crazy what goes on like behind the scenes. Like we went and tested our bikes, and I had been riding the fuel because we run ETS fuel over there. It's like a glorified pump gas pretty much.
Okay.
And I'd had pinging problems here in the States, and I told Mark, and I don't have the capability of to get on a computer and change the timing and all that, the ignition timing.
Right.
But we get over there and it's, noon there, and where Jaime's at, it's 1 a.m. And Jaime texts Mark, he's like, call me whenever, I'll be up. So like there are so many people that sacrifice so much for this race and put so much into, being there for us and making sure everything's good. And wow. Jaime made 3 different maps for me and Chad both. And Chad's ping went away and mine, was very limited. I didn't, really notice it in the race because my mind was on different things. But right. It's just like I've said, there's such a big team, and with us, not everybody's able to go over. But it's just, it's a really big deal, and that's why like there's raw emotion over there for me, and it means a lot for me for Jaime to be up at 1 a.m. and just everybody who gives up so much. All these families that go over there. There was a chef from Dubuque, which is Iowa.
Yeah,
his whole family went over there. He cooked for us. Like these people are so generous, and like I said, it really means a lot to just see our fans and families going over there and supporting us, because we have our back against the wall with all their fans, and they're very into it.
Yeah, man, I think that you're hitting the nail on the head there. Like it's such a great effort. This whole team thing. I said to Joel, like, I feel like it's gotten better every year. We said to Chad leading up to the event, like the team has created a worthy team, a worthy effort for you guys. Like, you guys are the greatest in the world, and yet this team riding out of a container has created a good enough effort for you guys that it's totally worthy and like capable for you, which is an amazing feat because so much goes into it. You know, there's so much that Harv does and Mark does and all those guys, everybody. I don't want to say just names because like there's so many people. It's endless. And like you said,
No.
the families from over here that go over there, all those things, man. It's a credit to every single person involved.
No, for sure. And that's one person I haven't said, his name, but Harv, he takes care of everything. And Harv and Sergio helps us a lot over there. But if it wasn't for Harv, we wouldn't go over there. He's such a great, team. I'm not sure his name, but let's just call him the manager because he's the top, the CEO, whatever, of Team USA. If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't be possible. And just the trust. He was a little nervous the first year, I think, just because it was my first time over there, which I give him the respect to be nervous because I was nervous.
Right.
But just the trust he has, and he really takes care of us. Sherry Baldwin, like, we had an amazing place to stay. But yeah, just everybody for everything they do. Cindy, Harv's wife, just it's so special. And I want to thank everyone. I can't, I don't know all the names off the top of my head, but it's truly something so special. And I hope that next year I can go do my thing and Chad can do his thing and Joel as well. And I really like the team. I think we all get along really well. And it's like we can work with each other. I'll go on a run with Chad. It's great hanging out with Joel. It's someone I've looked up to since I was a little kid, and just being at my house, so it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, what a way to cap what was, I'm sure, a long year, but an absolutely incredible one for you at the same time. I mean, pretty special for you to finish second in points here in the States and the title and the championship here. You win your first motos of your career, win your first overalls of your career, finish second in points, man. You put together an incredible season. And then to wear the number 2 over there was pretty cool too. Like, it was pretty fitting to have Joel number 1, you number 2, Chad number 3. That had to feel pretty cool for you to pull the number 2 over your head and wear it on your back. Like, it wasn't just the number 2 of Team USA. It was like the number 2 finishing here in the States. And like, I kept thinking about that every time I saw the number 2. I'm like, man, pretty cool how that worked out.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. And just, yeah, it was so amazing. Just, it's so motivating to go over there. And honestly, when I'm over there, I was fortunate enough, this is just like a random story, but it's just something fun for me. I got to train with Thomas at the end of his career, and everybody always knew he, would grind it out no matter what. And I got to train with him and see that, for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. And just, that's sort of the mentality I have over there. And it's, something that he really taught me, and I got to, witness myself, just grind it out. And I'm not sure if he ever ran number 2, but just, I think he ran a Forworks Hood, and it was crazy because it's like, I'm the young guy, and I, took his spot because he retired, but it was like deja vu, but not really. But it's just, something really cool because he trained me, and I got to, witness that, never give up, dig, even if you're, not the fastest guy or whatever, just dig. And, that's what I did over there. And I think it really worked out for me. I don't know how I won on the second row, but, somebody's watching over me, and everything, worked out. And, yeah, it was just, it's so special.
Yeah, it's a day that you're not going to forget anytime soon. Probably never forget. Hopefully, there's a lot more of these coming. But it's also a day as ATV fans like myself. I mean, we're not going to forget it either. The way that you've stepped up these last 2 years at the Quad Cross of Nations has been legendary, pal. It's hopefully the start of a legendary, not the start of a legendary career, but these are top tier things that you're doing here, and that's going to be on your resume someday when hopefully you're going into the AMA Hall of Fame. So that's what we're hoping for you, pal. And I think that think that a lot of success is in your future. But we needed to chat with you, buddy, because you stole the show once again this year. And do you have any other events on the schedule, pal? I mean, I haven't heard anything about the Huevos thing. I assume you'd want to go out there and defend that title from last year, but I don't know if that's happening, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I would, love to win another 10 grand. No, I haven't heard anything about it either, but that was a crazy event as well, but we won't go into that. But I'll tell you right now, in my 16 years of racing, I've never seen, articulating dump truck tires in front of me. And that was a crazy event. One more thing I would like to say is, man, did you see that FXR gear out there?
It looked nice. It looked nice. It looked nice.
Yeah, I think it was amazing. And just being, match the USA with the quad, I thought it looked really good. And it was.
Yeah, credit to those guys, because one, FXR tagged Digging Deep in one of their posts, which was pretty sick because, that's cool. That's legitimizing for us. And two, I need to give credit to Izza, because Izza helped navigate getting us one of your jerseys for our fantasy winners, top finishers giveaway thing. And that was one of our I think it was like a top 5 prize. So that was pretty cool too. So yeah, credit to FXR. Thanks for taking us in their post. They had you looking great. Izza got us one of your jerseys, which was awesome. But yeah,
FXR, like I really, I made the switch this year, but man, the gear, that stuff looks good. And it fits really nice. And, they've been, someone there, been there for me. Brad's a great guy. And if anybody's looking for some new gear, some, lit kit, I'd definitely go look at FXR.
Well, tell Brad it's time to team up with Digging Deep. They're very much a part of the ATV thing. I like what they're doing in the ATV space. So, it's about time, pal. It's about time. So maybe put in a good word for me.
I agree. You're already on CST. You're on a Yamaha. Cody needs some FXR.
Well, I don't know about me. I don't know about me. I'm pretty Thor loyal. They
oh yeah,
like
that's
royalty.
true. That's true. You've been an OG Thor. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But Digging Deep. Digging Deep would be good with FXR. Like that would be good. Good pairing there.
The top 1 fantasy player, first place for the year. They better, pick me next year, because I'm gonna go put in a lot of work. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it, man. Well,
I love wakeboard. With number 1 on it.
Yeah, there you go. Talking about Daytona there. But pal, enjoy your off season, buddy. I can't thank you enough for being here. Wishing you all the congrats and all the great jobs and everything else that we can shower you with here after another great performance at the Quad Cross of Nations. We're proud to have you riding for Team USA, and we'll chat again soon. All right, pal. Great job this season. Great job this past weekend at in Italy there.
Thank you so much, Cody, and thank you to everybody who supports Cody and listens to this. Because it's, really great to see that he covers our sport like this. And if it wasn't for him, the coverage wouldn't be there. So thank you to you, man. And thank you to everybody who supports us.
I appreciate it, pal. That's 2-time defending Quad Cross of Nations champion, Team USA member, Bryce Ford, right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by SSI Decals. Have a good night, pal. Thanks so much.
Thank you, man.
See you, pal.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
The following message is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The Manscaped engineering team has outdone themselves this time, creating the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, now available for purchase in the U.S. and Canada. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, an official sponsor of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at Manscaped.com. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I am blown away. This thing is next level. What sets this trimmer apart from all the rest? The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It features a new multi-functioning on-off switch with travel lock for those of us who like to travel. And my favorite, the new trimmer allows you to customize your trim with 4 different guard lengths, an upgrade from its predecessor that only featured 2. If you're listening, you know that good tools are a must, so wait no more to get the best tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped.com by using code DIGGINGDEEP20.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATV MX podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheel racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen. Plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer. Products ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP Brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Nearing 2 decades into the brand's existence, Factory 43 is back and better than ever, continuing to make major waves in the ATV world. For the 3rd consecutive season, Factory 43 is the official aluminum parts choice of the Phoenix Racing ATV team, providing their state-of-the-art Evo Nerf bars, MX-style front bumpers, and grab bars for 2-time champ Joel Hetrick. If you're in the market to upgrade your Nerf bars, bumpers, or grab bars, head over to Factory43ATV.com to see their full line of industry-leading products available for all makes and models. Head over to Factory43ATV.com today. All right, guys, as always, I love any time I get to spend with this ATV racing living legend, brought to you by DID and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain that just so happens to feature the final guest of this show right on their box of that 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. We talked to him a few weeks back following a win at the Loretta Lynn season finale to cap his 2023 campaign. Now he joins us following tasting victory at the Quad Cross of Nations yet again, this time in Italy. I'm proud to welcome your 8-time series champion, Mr. Chad Wienen. Welcome back to Digging Deep. Thanks so much for being here with me, Chad. It was important to me to get you on this show, so we feature the entire 2023 Quad Cross of Nations victory tasting team here, Team USA, on this episode. So congrats again on another victory at the Quad Cross of Nations, buddy, and thanks so much for being here.
Cody, hey, appreciate that. Man, just a great time being a part of that, and being a part of all 5 of the winning teams is really special to me.
Yep.
It's I've put a lot of passion, a lot of heart into getting off the ground and getting it going, and I'm really happy to see where it's going and being a part of it.
Yeah, we talked last time that you were on kind of about all the effort that goes into it, and a job that you don't necessarily want to have, like Harv has, kind of putting this whole thing together, all those things. So much goes into it. To see it kind of come to fruition then and be successful when you go there and all those things has to be something that you feel a lot of pride about. I'm sure you're so proud of that. And I got to believe it's special. I see these pictures of you with your family, with Danica and the kids. And I got to imagine that as the kids get a little older and every year, every event, every things that we go through in life as people, I think that, just always puts things more and more into perspective. I think you cherish things a little more. I'm sure that that's something that you feel as you share these memories with your family. That's got to be so special. I can't imagine, a cooler feeling than that. Traveling the globe, racing your four-wheeler, all those things, man, doesn't get any better than that. So got to imagine you're just been glowing following yet another successful trip across the pond.
Yeah, we sure did. I think the most special part is like all the people, the friends and the family that do make the trip over there to come. And it's, I definitely, do appreciate it more the older I get. And it's not just business. It's a lot of like enjoyment, out of it as well. So I feel a lot of that more into this trip that we had, all the people that did come, and just the enjoyment of, the success that we had. Like we put together the perfect score, across the whole board. And, just having like the mindset that I had going into there was be the perfect, team guy and not go over there for myself. And it's I guess my biggest worry is going over there and not succeeding, and like having something go wrong. And that's we've had a couple like, nicks in our armor in the past, and I think this year we came and we did everything that we expect ourselves to do, and it's not easy, especially some of the things that we had to hurdle throughout the weekend.
Well, for sure. I think that that's something that maybe I haven't touched on enough on this episode. The stuff that we've recorded so far, Chad, is the fact that it was about as perfect and as dominant as we've seen one of these things for an American squad. I mean, obviously the perfect score, we've seen that already, but you guys from qualifying day all the way through that final moto for you and Joel, the way that it was executed, so spot on. I mean, we talked to Joel and Bryce, like that first moto was, there was some good racing going on there. I'm not going to say like anything was ever necessarily in doubt. We just saw some really great racing going on, some tight battles, all those things. But the way that you three riders and the rest of the squad executed this one, it was about as dominant a performance as we've seen from an American squad at one of these Quad Cross of Nations. And that's saying something, because they've obviously all been successful, and they've all been, we've had competition, but it's always kind of been like we had a grip on it at least the whole time. This one was about as good as it gets, pal.
Yeah, it definitely was, with that first moto going down where both Bryce and Joel had to kind of work their way through the pack. And I was like, it took Joel a while to get really like moving. And then once he got moving, it was like the floodgates had opened and he started making moves. And then Bryce made his way to the lead. And it was like, okay, like, about 10 minutes earlier, I was like, well, like, I don't know, like it's going to be for us to go, to go 1-2 in this moto. But man, I think a lot of the riders really, they're preparing really well for this race and giving us, some strong competition. The track definitely, I felt like that as the day went on, the rougher it got, the more it suited us to be like strong throughout the whole race and being able to kind of manipulate the track and ride it the way that we wanted to.
Yeah, no, I think that you're hitting the nail on the head, pal. And, I guess, tell me about your weekend. Tell me about your motos, your racing. I think that one of the things that we touched on with each guy here is the track, the way that it developed, and it felt different from 2017 for whatever reason. But, it was hard packed. It was very fast. And just like the way that the lines and everything worked out, man, like it wasn't really conducive to making like tons of moves, right? Like that's where I think things, if anything was ever a little hairy, it was that first moto when those guys had to make some moves to get to the front. So tell me about your weekend and executing some really good starts and being up front for the most part in your motos and really, executing for the team. Tell me about your motos there in Italy.
Yeah. So I'll actually touch on like some of my struggles that I had. I noticed, like, I believe with the hills and how hot it was, like I noticed a lot of like front brake fade in my machine. So we had to change like brake pads, rotors, like several times throughout like Saturday and Sunday.
Really?
Like, yeah, in between, like, so we did, the first motos went off. I was watching, I was on the sidelines. And then when my moto came up with Bryce, we get out there on the track and I'm like, I'm in the lead by then. I'm starting to notice like some brake fade, which like wasn't a big deal. I was kind of set in like the pace that I wanted to run because I knew that I had the back-to-back motos.
Yeah.
And, I felt Bryce coming up, like, definitely wasn't going to fight him, if he wanted to make an advancement. And I actually, like, once I felt him, I like kind of let him go, be like, hey, like, I might be able to learn a couple lines, the way he's flowing around the track. And once I like got behind him, rode behind him a little bit, like I was able to comfortably ride with that pace with him. And then even towards the end, like I was really working on using my rear brakes a little bit more to give my front brakes like a time to cool down, and learning how to ride the machine like that, a little bit different, it's nice having those longer motos where it's just not a straight out sprint the whole time. You can actually like pick the times when you want to like rip, and other times where you want to just kind of relax a little bit. The track was really tricky in a way where it was very slippery. Like it looked like you'd have some traction, all of a sudden you just like give away and you wouldn't have anything. And finishing out that first moto, I felt great like on the machine, and just kind of followed Bryce into the finish. And going in between those motos, we changed, front brake systems again. And, what we did, like we were running like some front wheel cap covers, and we actually took those off to try and like help it breathe a little more. And
Disperse some heat. Yeah. Okay.
So we did that, and it was a night and day difference for the moto.
Wow, that's crazy because not everybody would think about that.
Yep. I mean, we're just thinking about things that because this year I went to the bead lock front, which I haven't ran like basically like my whole career. And I like blew a front wheel off at the first round in practice at Daytona. Okay. So I've been running and for a while there, I wasn't running anything like front wheel protection for the bead lock or anything. And then I started running some stuff with Hardy, and he got me some stuff to try out. And I was like, okay, none of the tracks around here doesn't bother me, but that track there, I don't know what it was. I feel like just so fast, and we just really roached the brake heat in the.
Yeah. So I guess my mind goes to the elevation and those hills and those speeds and all those things. It must have just been the perfect combination that you were asking that much of your front brake, that this happened for the first time all year, which is insane. And also a testament to you taking all that stuff with you and having enough, equipment and product with you to, kind of be prepared for this. When you're racing out of a container, you're not racing out of your truck. Like that's a credit to you for thinking ahead, I guess, too.
Yeah, like we actually, like after my first set I went through, I had to call on a friend back to Trini, Sergio, his mechanic. He helped us out with a front brake pad setup, because realistically with me, I was thinking bring a spare set because I had fresh stuff on the machine already.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like can you got anything on your truck to otherwise you're basically just trying to clean up the brake pad, which wasn't going to be ideal for us.
Right. Yeah, that's nuts to think about, man. I would have never thought that the hills or the elevation or whatever it was going to impact that much, but that's crazy to think about. Well, I mean, you did everything you needed to do, pal, to help the team kind of cap a fifth Quad Cross of Nations title for Team USA, and something that you already touched on, but is something that's special, and this will hold until you decide to not go to one of these things for the team, is that, Chad, you're the one and only guy that's been a part of every one of these things so far, and that's got to be a pretty darn cool feeling. I mean, obviously you and Thomas, we know you were kind of the pioneers of starting this thing, coming up with the idea, all these things at the beginning. Now to have won it every year, have been a part of it every year, and be the only person that has, and just with all the cool things that have come from this, all the Team USA stuff, all the patriotism within our sport, the riders coming from Europe to hear all those things. I mean, we've talked so much about these topics, but all the great stuff that have came from this little brainchild that you and Thomas had, and now to have been a part of them all, had another successful one, this one as dominant as any. I mean, all these things has to be something that is pretty darn cool to think back on, Chad. It's come a long way in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is, and I've expressed that a lot, like the pride that it brings, to me and our team to be able to keep doing this. I know how much of an expense it is, and, last thing that we want to do is throw it away and come home with, less than what our expectations are and where we know we belong. But I mean, huge hats off to, like, there was a couple riders, especially like Patrick Trini, like he rode so strong, and like Harry Walker, man, like it's kind of cool. Like every year it seems like 1-2 guys like really like step up and they show what they have and what they've been working on.
Yeah.
So it's never like, the same guys that are just, showing us what they have every year. So it's really nice seeing like even Argentina get on the podium. Like I think that was like really cool because it was their second time being there. And man, like I know they had like a rough score the second moto, so they had to be like on point the rest of the weekend. So it's really cool to see that, and see the friendships that we make. Being across the pond and racing with new guys is always a great time.
Yeah, it's fun to hear you kind of mention that. And that was one of the questions that I was going to get to, talking about the other guys that kind of stood out, because the one thing that I haven't probably touched on enough on this show so far was the fact that Patrick Chiarini was the guy who stood out, other than the Americans and how well you guys performed there. No rider was more impressive than Patrick Chiarini was at the 2023 Quad Cross of Nations. Home soil for him. Patrick Chiarini goes out there, runner-up finish, helps, put Team Italy there in the runner-up spot. And he was 3-3 in the motos as an individual too. So I knew that he was a guy that, you kind of rode underneath you, or however that was, however that technically worked out here. I don't know the verbiage to use, but he was a guy that was very much under your wing here in the States when he finished 11th in 2022 here. I think he got 4 top 10 finishes, if my memory serves me correctly. So he was very good here in the States, and he showed out that weekend, a few weekends back there in Italy at the Quad Cross of Nations, which was really cool to see. Like just the way that he was the clear-cut guy behind the Americans, fun to see, and something that you had to be pretty proud of for him, just like you said.
Oh, for sure. Like, that was that second moto, he got the whole shot, and like took me a couple laps to get around him. And like, once we came off the track and I seen that he had gotten third, like it was a really cool moment. Cause like we've spent a lot of time, like, year before last, in the States and riding together, racing together, and he's come a long way. And it's very cool to see his progression. And what I mean, if he's if he keeps trending in that direction, like there speaks of him coming back and doing a couple of races again next year here in the States.
Yeah.
Which like we're very stoked on, and we love their company. And even there's possibility of, I've been hearing more of some different riders might be making their way as well. And it just makes our series that elite, that these riders are taking like, basically this is their like dream to be able to come here and race in the USA, and they feel like it's the best series that they can progress that. And it definitely shows that what kind of class that we bring to the races with Team USA. And I always hear like the professionalism that the team has, and it really does show, because man, after the race, like the amount of like kids, fans, that were at the back of our container, just like, whatever they could get their hands on, they were going to try and get it. The people that were like, it was just a cool moment, because, that's how much, we're actually loved there a lot, which is really cool. I don't feel like we're hated, other than they want to try and beat us. It's just the side, but man, like, it's great being able to go there, see new fans, see new racers, and compete.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I think is so different. Like when you think about the heyday, you would have been just as in tune with what was going on then. The 2005, 6, 7 era, when you heard about like Ricky and James and RV or whoever it would have been going to the Motocross of Nations on the two-wheeled side, and it was like, man, everybody in France or wherever they went in those years, I remember them going to Ernée, and the stories of just everybody wanted to see them fail. Like they wanted to see the Americans, but they wanted to see them get beat by their Europeans. And
Yeah.
that is clearly not how it is in the ATV side of things here in 2023. I mean, you guys are an amazing asset to have at these events for these people. They'd love to see the Americans and even the other riders. From all the stories that you guys tell me and the stories that other people that are over there tell me, it's like, man, the riders are just stoked to have you there. And then, like we've said so many times, the bridges that we're creating, or you guys, I should say, are creating, are getting more people here. Look at, Kevin Saar, Patrick Turini. Patrick Turini messaged me, and just like you said, he said he's coming back for 4 races or whatever it is next year. We saw, McLernan, he came over for a race last year. Just all these things. Like, I think we're going to see more and more of that, and I don't think that it happens without this event. But it's just a more connected ATV racing circuit around the globe. And like you said, it also makes doesn't leave it up for debate, I guess, that our series is the premier ATV racing series on the planet. And what an awesome thing that is. It's something that, we're just fortunate and lucky and privileged to have here. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, another couple little things like, that was like the first, once we got to Italy, that was the first time like we seen our team helmets. Our team helmets were awesome.
Okay.
They're all like very well painted. Like it's like a trophy,
Yeah.
and I put it up on the shelf. Like it is a trophy, and it is, but that, and like so I've seen my machine in photos, but I didn't see it like in person with the graphics on it. Cause, Michael, my mechanic, he did the graphics and the final prep on the machine.
Okay.
So that was the first time I seen it in Italy, but man, like those graphics were so rad, so cool. And like everybody's machines were like matching. So it was a really cool time. Kind of took me back to like the first year that we did it, where, all of us ran white plastics and with the matching graphics, and SSI, they definitely killed it.
Yeah. So that it kind of takes me exactly where I wanted to go, because I'll ask you the same thing that I asked Joel. I asked him, did going back to Cingoli there, did it kind of bring back any memories from that first time around? Because this effort has come so far, and there's so much that has happened in the last 6 years and all the wins at these events, and just, a lot of time goes by. I was wondering if it brought back any good memories, and if you did any reminiscing kind of going back here now, because it's the first time that you were returning to a facility that you had already been at. And then just, you think about Italy, like, I don't know why, but Italy has some mystique that maybe those other countries that you guys have went to, I don't want to, maybe that's not the right way to say it, but Italy just seems like it's almost like a special, cool, I don't know, romantic place. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I wondered if it was extra special to go back there.
Yeah. Like, I feel like Italy, they have a strong heritage where they live, and especially where the track is at. Like,
okay.
Man, like there's very few people that speak English around that area that we're in. Like, it's a very strong, heritage. Like, they like go to the restaurants. It's like straight up like Italian.
Okay. Okay.
It's really to see that. And then, like walking the track, like I walked the track with Bryce, and, we were talking about like the comparison from the year that we were here to where we are now. Like the first year, the track was a lot more like peaky, I would say. The jump faces were built up quite a bit more, and like a little bit more precision that had to be done. Yep. Where I felt the track was like very much more high speed, flowed really well. And and I don't remember the dirt, or they call it dirt, but it was like a gravel road out there when we were racing.
That's what I heard.
I don't remember it being quite like that when we were first there.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I don't remember even the videos or you guys talking about it. It doesn't like I said, it doesn't feel like the same track for whatever reason. But to go back there still had to be pretty darn cool. It had to be like, it wasn't totally brand new this time around, kind of returning to someplace you had already been. And I'm assuming, so 2017 would have been the first time that it happened. And now, 5 wins later, I have to imagine when you stand on the podium and there's red, white, and blue flags flying and they play the national anthem and you guys are standing on top of the podium, all those things. I'm assuming that whether it's the first time or the 5th time or any of the times in between, I got to imagine that feeling doesn't get any better than that. It justifies all the hard work, all the sweat, all the money, all the time spent, all of that stuff that you guys put into that effort, that so many people put into that effort. That's why you do it. And I'm assuming every time you're standing on top of the podium with all that going on, I'm assuming that in that moment, it's like, yeah, it was worth every penny. It was worth every moment. It was worth every blood, sweat, and tear.
Oh, for sure. I think like probably one of the cooler parts this time was like a lot of the Italians had their chainsaws and like they gave them to us to like basically celebrate with them.
Yeah.
I think that it really got your blood pumping because like, I mean, that's not a typical thing that we do here in the US. And,
right.
Like after our last race, I don't think Joel was feeling the greatest, like after that last moto. And gosh, like I'm over there with the fans, like cheering, and like it was like an awesome moment, because of I know that what everything that goes into it, and there's nothing quite as sweet as winning the first time, but like for me, I know that this isn't gonna last forever for me, and it's coming to a close eventually, but I don't know soon. So I'm wanting to like try and enjoy these moments and not just look on to the next moment and get past it, and I enjoyed that, celebrating with the fans and even at home fans. And like, it was a special moment for sure.
Yeah. You're cherishing it. Well, I love to hear that. And Chad, we know that, you want to win every gate drop that you line up for, but you did everything that you had to do. And it was actually very cool and very insightful for you to say, hey, I was going to be the best teammate I could be. And whatever that meant, you were going to do. And that's exactly what you did. And that culminated in a perfect score and a perfect weekend for the American squad. And I think that, whether it was first on the track or second on the track, it was still number 1 on the top of the podium. And that's really all that matters. And to hear you say that, man, is a pretty cool thing. I mean, to see the photos of you and Bryce, to see the photos of you and Joel on the gate together. I don't know. There's just something about that are things that are legendary to me. And I'm assuming I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Yeah, for sure. And, I know coming over here that it takes a team to win, and definitely no individual is going to basically make that happen, or it could easily be taken away, by an individual. So for me, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be that guy that does whatever the team needs that guy to do. And that's the spot that I filled in. And, I'm very proud of, our team this year and everybody that was involved. It was definitely a full on team effort, because I know we had some late nights because my mechanic on Saturday night, they were there really late. And, for me, I know that next morning had to come early because we had to be on track at 8:00 in the morning. So those guys and we were just under an hour away from the track where we were staying. So it was early mornings for everybody and late nights. And I really hats off to all those, everyone that, put efforts. It's definitely not a team, or it's definitely thing and not an individual.
And let alone your body clock being all messed up, like I was trying to line up having Harv on the show right before the event, and he's texting me. I'm texting him at like midnight my time here in Wisconsin, and it's like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning there. Yeah. Like that's nuts too. That's a hurdle in itself.
Yeah. Definitely with us being there, like, a week before helps us get a little more acclimated to it. Right. But yeah, I mean, I know it takes me longer the older I get to get acclimated to everything, and even getting back here is like the kids were wanting to get up at 2 in the morning. I'm like, oh gosh, like I need more rest. Luckily, I didn't have any more of events to tackle at the end of the year here.
Yeah. Well, Chad, we know you went to Canada after Loretta's. Do you have any more fun celebrating stuff or any more fun activities planned here in the off season? Give us a quick off season preview before we get out of here.
Well, like after the race, we spent a couple more days in Italy. We had an awesome group. I think there was like 12, 13 of us from my end of my spot, or my group over here.
Okay.
Had 4 and Danica's and my family.
Okay.
So we traveled to Florence. We were there for 3 days, and then we flew to Spain to Barcelona. We stayed there for a couple days, and then we flew to Mallorca, which is an island off of Spain.
Okay.
And it was awesome time. Got to unwind a little bit, have a couple drinks and enjoy that family time, and
Nice.
kind of disconnect from racing a little bit. And I think that's exactly what I need to go into the off season and start to try to get stronger off the machine. And I actually got some testing set up I'm trying to get in before we're supposed to have some rain coming towards the end of this week. So I'm trying to get it in tomorrow and the following day.
You're trying to get it in before the weather changes, Chad.
Before the weather changes. Yep. Yep. They're so good right now. So I'm trying to, enjoy that little bit of riding that we had left. I actually went tonight. I rode my dirt bike with Sunset Bob. We went to this woods loop that we have around our area.
Oh, wow.
A couple friends have it. So we went and rode there with a friend, Matt. I rode with, three of us rode for about 3 hours tonight, and
Wow. That's
great
awesome.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, Chad, now with Quad Cross of Nations in the rear view, I really, the only thing I got kind of on my plate right now is I just hope that my lowly Packers beat your Vikings this weekend in Lambeau. But jokes aside, pal, I can't thank you enough for being here tonight with me on short notice. Got to congratulate you on another awesome trip across the pond. So stoked to have you. So proud to have you representing our squad year after year, and just hoping you enjoy the off season, buddy. I can't thank you enough for everything, as always.
Yeah, of course. Thanks a lot for having me. The Vikings coming off a big win last night.
Yeah. Unlikely win. I don't know how they did it, man.
I don't know. It was it's usually around that third, fourth quarter they start to slip a little bit, but man, they made some really big plays that I was usually the other way for us. So I was well, it was time for Kurt to get a win at prime time. And
yeah.
Hopefully that'll get us over the hill to get back on track a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Chad, I'll talk football with you anytime. So you just you got my number. We'll talk football anytime. I'd rather talk about the Badgers, I think. But yeah, Chad, jokes aside, thanks for everything. Congrats again, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thanks for everything.
For sure. Yep. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks so much, Chad. I'm sure we need it. I'm normally not the pessimist Packer fan, but I've turned into one. Thanks so much, Chad. That's 8-time champion Chad Wienen signing off right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, brought to you by DID and their 520 ATV2 X-Ring chain. Have a good night, pal. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Success in the ATVMX world is similar to what creates financial success as well. The right people, the right advice, and more importantly, hard work and the benefit of an ongoing relationship as situations change and adversity is experienced. Do you have the right financial advisor to help you reach your goals? Haymower Financial Group can create a personalized, goal-based plan to help your family prepare for whatever life brings. Call me, Scott Haymower, at Haymower Financial Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, at 920-338-8150. That's 920-338-8150. Offices located in beautiful De Pere, Wisconsin, with registrations and clients nationwide.
Headlined by the 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the number one choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the Pro Paddock with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit LaundervilleSteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. Here at Digging Deep, we have an obvious passion for ATVs and pridefully enjoy sharing the sport's history. Since 2019, when the podcast was born, we've been working to partner with individuals who share our passion, but one man and his vision had been missing from our partnership group. Until now. When it comes to the sport's history, the hallowed grounds of Binky's Forever ATC Museum has it all. Binky Tapscott's mind-blowing collection of 3- and 4-wheelers has preserved history by spanning all makes and models from Honda 3-wheelers in chronological order to unique builds that shaped ATV racing as we know it, like Doug Gust's iconic DRZ-powered hybrid thumper and everything in between. There's no denying Binky's passion, a passion that we certainly relate to here at Digging Deep. Binky's goal is to share his amazing collection with fellow enthusiasts by making his prized possessions accessible to the public via scheduled visits. Follow Forever ATC Museum on Facebook and watch foreveratc.com for further updates on possibly getting a chance to see Binky's Forever ATC Museum for yourself. We are proud to welcome Binky's Forever ATC Museum to the Digging Deep family. As the number one podcast in ATV racing, it's only right that we partner with the industry leaders in suspension tuning. Insert Impact Solutions. Impact Solutions is a full-service ATV and side-by-side suspension center specializing in the revalving and service of your motocross and off-road suspension. With over 25 years of elite-level knowledge, experience, and testing with riders of all ages and ability levels, Jay Goebel and the Impact crew strive to exceed clients' expectations for service and setup. Impact Solutions is the official Elka Suspension Service Center of the United States, offering unmatched product knowledge and experience. Whether you're in need of service, parts, warranty, sales, or technical support, Impact Solutions has you covered. Head over to ImpactSolutionsATV.com or give them a call today. With the desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the Ultimate Protection collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. Man, proud of this one. Stoked to have that trio join our show. Congrats to Team USA and every single person involved. Thanks to tonight's featured guests, Team USA members Joel Hetrick, Bryce Ford, and Chad Wienen. I also want to take a moment here because while Team USA was winning a 5th Quad Cross of Nations title, Logan Stanfield was getting engaged to his lovely fiance. Congrats to him and Addie. Brett Musick was becoming a father. Congrats to him and Faith. And sadly, the ATV racing community lost FTR's Ernie Bolden after a long battle with cancer. The Bolden family and all Ernie's friends are in our thoughts and prayers. With that, thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to Brooke and AMA official Harv Whipple. Thanks to our regular photographers Ken Hill and Logan Tremelin. And thanks to J Parts USA for allowing us to use their photos in covering this great Quad Cross of Nations event. Thanks to all of our donors. You know who you are. We appreciate you so much. Thanks to all of our partners. CST Tires. Go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Namura Technologies, Bronco ATV and UTV Components, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, the financial advice of the Haymauer Financial Group, DP Brakes, Factory 43, Binky's Forever ATC Museum, Impact Solutions, Ultimate Poly Products, UPP Racing. So extremely stoked to have those guys on board. Use code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com and Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DIGGINGDEEP20 at manscaped.com. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and to help us out. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. We just put the finishing touches on awarding our top finishers in ATV Fantasy for 2023. All ATV Fantasy info can be found at atvfantasy.com. To shop our Digging Deep merch, head over to shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com. And if you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. You can always leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show, 920-569-3519. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content, coverage, and more fun stuff as we are now fully entrenched in the off season. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend, please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Joel Hetrick, Bryce Ford, Chad Wienen, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with more than 237,000 downloads last month in 103 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. See you next week. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quad leaders are freaking